The politics of the ancient and prestigious 1,000-year-old Kano Emirate has thrown some controversial twists and turns in the last 10 years. Now, while not as dramatic and shocking as the popular drama TV series Game of Thrones, its latest twist is the kind of movie script where either a centuries-old tradition or politics actually wins. Now, two royal families have been in a battle for supremacy in the ancient city of Kano, the Bayeros and the Sanusis. Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II beat Aminu Ado Bayero to succeed the latter's father, Emir Ado Bayero, as at far back 2014. Now, 3 months shy of 6 years later, he would be deposed of his predecessor's son, Aminu Ado Bayero, amid a fallout with the state's governor at the time, Abdullahi Ganduje, the current APC chairman. Now, 4 years and a change of governor later, he is heading back to the throne. Now, today on Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue, we've got Professor Theodore, and we will be discussing the Game of Thrones-like series in the Kano Emirate. Join us in the next phase of the show. But before you do that, you do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. You're welcome back to the show. The show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. We will be talking about the Game of Thrones-like battle for supremacy in Kano State, the ancient city, between the Sanusi family and the Bayeros. Actually, in recent reports, it's been a case of a rift between the reinstatement between Bayero and Sanusi Lamido, former CBN governor. Now, it's a case of some people not actually buying into the reinstatement of Sanusi. But right here on the show, I've got with me Professor Theodore, who will be shedding more light in the northern part of Nigeria, particularly the Kano Emirate. You're welcome, Professor.
Good morning.
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
Let me make it small correct. I'm not professor.
Okay.
Theodore. Yes, please, for spot of correction.
Okay, sir.
It's an impostor personality. Yeah,
okay, sir.
Carry on, yeah.
Okay, sir. You're quite conversant with the happenings and occurrences in the northern part of Nigeria. That's why we have you on the show. Yes. Now, in this regard, now with the recent occurrences, are there no regard for traditional institutions anymore, if I may begin to ask?
Thank you, MFAMC, for having me on board. It is really, it's frightening. The scenario that's playing in Kano is really frightening, as if they are trying to ridicule the traditional institution. It is not out of place to say that hypothesis will now become a theory after satisfying that test of repeatability. What actually had happened sometimes back is about to happen again and again. So if you look at the crisis, it is a battle of supremacy among nephews.
Okay.
The late Ado Bayero and the Sanusi Lamido Sanusi's grandfather were all siblings of the same parents.
Okay.
So they were siblings of the two parents, the same parents. They were brought up in the same house for years. And if I am not mistaken, Sanusi Lamido is married to the daughter, one of the wives is the daughter of the late Bayero.
Okay.
So if anybody is taking side in this crisis, it might be a kind of a where to elephant fight, the grasses will suffer. So that's how I see the situation. Why I will say that they have already called the traditional institution to is a mayor that he that pays the piper dictates the tune.
Okay.
I will quote the late Remy. Remy said in one of his this is when he was about to dismantle the Emirates, then that Emir is nothing but a public officer holding public offices, holding public office who is being paid with public funds and who is appointed at the pleasure of the governor and who can be removed, suspended, indicted, or dismissed. These are the statements I quote from the governor of Kano State, Remy.
Okay. Okay. That's...
So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, sir.
Yeah. So if you look at what is happening now in Kano, it's a repetition of. I will see. I don't see, because if you bring politics into the traditional institution, then you are bringing in problems. Because before the coming of this democracy, even before the colonization, our colonial master came in, the traditional institution has been existing. So any attempt to politicize the traditional institution will bring problem, anarchy into any environment where such occurs. So they should tread cautiously to avoid breakdown of law and order.
Okay, now
this is the address.
Okay, and that's quite extensive, considering the introductory relationship between the both emirs, one who has actually been enthroned and the other which has also been dethroned. Yeah. Now, currently, Sanusi has been reinstated as emir. Now, what do you feel the frenzy is like now in Kano currently now? What impact will it have, particularly on the people? Because recent reports made us know that while Sanusi was being reinstated, Bayero was out of the country. And now this has recently heightened the fracas which is actually going on.
Thank you for this question. You see, where two elephants fight is the grasses that will suffer.
Okay.
When two mighty men fight, the one must subdue one. If the federal might decide to wade in, using the federal might to reinstate the dethroned one now, if any active force wants to resist the statement, there will be crisis. So if the federal might comes in, because you see what is playing on now, if party A comes in, it restates, another comes in, government comes in, it dethrones. So it will continue. It will continue.
Okay.
It happened when the former governor Ganduje was there. He removed Sanusi. The Yusuf coming in now restated Sanusi. So what is it? See, you don't need any person any prophet to tell you that if another opposition comes in tomorrow, there's a possibility that this one it will still be removed.
Okay.
And if paraventure, I know that the federal government will play a neutral role. I don't expect any federal might involved, but the police force, in particular, they want to play a neutral role. They might not be biased. If they want to enforce the law, there is going to be a kind of I see a kind of a friction that might not be palatable. So that is what I am really envisaging in the scenario that will play in Kano presently.
Okay, thank you for that. You made mention of Governor Remy of the 70s and 80s. Now, historically speaking, the last time a similar scenario played out, which you mentioned initially in Kano, was in the late 70s and 80s. Now, during the administration of Governor Abubakar Remy, there was an attempt to create a 5 emirate in Kano State by splitting Kano Emirate. Now, this move was opposed by some members of the royal family and other traditional rulers who saw it as an attempt to weaken the Kano Emirate influence. However, on Governor Rimi's part, he went ahead to create these new emirates. The Kano Emirate was now actually reduced in size and given a more ceremonial role. Now, while new emirates were granted more administrative and political powers, the Emir of Kano at the time was now not deposed, rather was suspended in 1981. Now, move led to riots, actually. This actually prompted riots in Kano, which, of course, is playing out now as we speak. And Rimi never recovered politically and actually resigned. Now, after falling out with Aminu Kano at the time. Now, Governor Sabo, who took over in 1983, actually reversed the decision and restored the Kano Emirate to its original nature and status, with the other emirates, which were actually abolished, just as it's repeated again now. Now, history repeats itself again with Governor Abba Yusuf in Kano, reinstating the 14th Emir of Kano, which he signed into law, the Kano State Emirate Council Repeal Bill as of 2024, this year. The new law actually replaces Kano State Emirates Council Law of 2019 and dissolves every other established emirate by its predecessor, current APC chairman Ganduje. Now, I would like to ask, will it be in order to say governors possess a weighty influence on a decades-old tradition, or who should have more say or influence in the traditional balance of power?
Thank you for asking this interesting question. You see, I said from the beginning of my speech that the traditional institution has been there right from ages, and they were not political. They were political. They were not involved in all these political activities. Rather, they were regarded as royal fathers, who presides over, yes, the custodian of the tradition of the entire nation. If they are now turning the crown to a kind of they turning the crown of that treasured crown now to a bowl, a football, it doesn't augur well to the nation. It doesn't augur well to the society, because they are the custodian of the tradition of the society. That's what makes us still feel we have people we refer to when we want to interpret the culture and of the community. Now, in that situation, now I said earlier that hypothesis become a theory after certifying the test of repetibility.
Yes.
It has played itself all over and over again. Now, you made reference to. So, what is there can still be that possibility of it happening again. The possibility of it happening again is almost 80, because the traditional institution there should be a dichotomy between the traditional institution and the political power. That's right. Because as a head of as the traditional ruler, every member of that community is your child, whether whoever is you are not seen. But if you are beating a child, you beat a child with love. If you are beating a child with animosity, you beat with hatred. See, so if a traditional ruler gets himself involved, smelled in politics, it will be engulfed in politics. Because if the person you are supporting today leaves the stage, the person you think might not be of use to you today, if he's at the helm of the affair now, it now becomes he that pays the piper, dictates the tone. Okay. It will be policies of vengeance, and you see, it will be politics of vengeance, and so that is what is playing in Kano now. Okay. When it was APC government that removed the Sanusi, the ANPP government has enthroned the Sanusi again. You see, so there should be a dichotomy. The Emirate Council should be allowed to function independently. Okay. Yes, the Emirate Council should be allowed to people. The kingmakers are the kingmakers. It should not be the governor. He that pays the governor, because what he said is that I pay your salary. It's like employee and employer situation. It should not be so. The traditional institution has been there for ages. Right from the time of our colonial masters, they were recognized. If now we are not turning into a kind of political a tool that you can play like football, toes here, toes there, toes there, toes there. You are making caricature of that traditional institution. We treasure most. We treasure that traditional institution. It's the only treasure we have in Africa that the white men they adore, they envy. So if at this time now we now turn the crown we treasure to a football, football it doesn't go well for the entire country at all. I think it's teaching time saves 9. So there should be dichotomy between political appointee and a traditional ruler. A traditional ruler should not be seen as a political appointee. If we're able to remove this, then we'll live in peace. We'll be at peace with it. There will no record. There will no this crisis of this one is installed today, tomorrow is removed, after tomorrow is installed, and that one is enthroned. It doesn't all go well. I'm not happy with the scenario at all. Nobody's happy with the scenario. But the problem is that it is when the Oba farm is straight into the Oba goat straight into the Oba farm. All the goats, all the farm, it's still Oba that owes them. So it's though anybody that takes side now will be the grass that will suffer the fight of the 2 elephants. That is my humble summation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that extensive dichotomy descriptions. But we Africans tend to have this urge for what I say selfishness and greed. Let's come down to democracy, for instance. Now, democracy stipulates down in any constitution that the presidents can run for 2 terms for a 4-year period. But based on selfish interests, some have twisted the constitution to favor them, whereby some African countries rule for 5 years, but for a single tenure, or maybe for 6 years for a single tenure. But originally, the African setting was actually characterized with this feature of a monarchical system disrupted by the whites. Now, the whites now, as we speak now, particularly using Europe now as a case study now, Britain to be precise, they have their monarch, which is actually a symbolic figure for ceremonial duties. And we now have the administrative arm, which we now have the MPs, the prime ministers. Now, a situation whereby we have the traditional institutions in place and also a democratic system in place. And an emir such as Muhammadu Sanusi, who began his reign in June 8, 2014, when Rabiu Kwankwaso was governor of Kano State. He was actually appointed emir less than 4 months after Goodluck Jonathan, and he accused the Jonathan administration of corruption, which actually, of course, they fell out, and he had to eject him as a central bank governor. A similar thing repeated itself again while Ganduje was actually governor of Kano State, where he accused his administration of corruption. Now, a situation whereby a monarch gets himself caught up in the web of administrative politics. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you for asking me. I said there's nothing wrong for a father correcting a child. I made a typical example some minutes ago that if you beat a child with love and you beat a child with animosity, there's a dichotomy between when you beat a child with love and when you beat a child with hatred. There's a difference. So if there's no, you see, I said, I belong for all, according to from the immediate past president. I'm for all, I'm for nobody. So as a father, you should not be seen to take a side with any political party. Your action, your body language, your utterances should not be seen as a mouthpiece of opposition. You see, these are things that brings about problem. If you maintain your terrain as a traditional ruler, as the head of the custodian of the custom of our people.
Yes.
And if anything is there's a way you can call somebody privately and make correction. Any of your children is going astray, make correction.
Yes.
But if you rope somebody in the house and he goes to the market and pull off the agbada from the person, will he be happy with you? Definitely you give me a very nice costume in the room. On my way out to the mosque or to the church, you now derobe me, remove the agbada from me, show you my naked. I will not be happy, I will not forgive you. That's what I'm saying. In the scenario where you see any of your child, any of your children any of your children is holding a political position as a governor, as a president, as a senator, and else, you should not be the mouthpiece you can call him to your palace, correct this, what I'm hearing about you, I'm not happy. Go back and make a turnover a new leaf. If you can, but open condemnation, both criticism, not even there is what we call constructive criticism. You can correct but it's different between when you castigate somebody. Condemnation, if you criticize, it's different from condemnation. If you condemn in totality, there's nothing good about anything you have done. It's different from when you are building a house. You see there's a crack somewhere. Oh, let's correct this crack here before the house falls. If you say, oh, right from the foundation, everything is bad, no engineer will take that lightly. So that's exactly what is happening in the country. If you get yourself involved in politics, your bitterness, politics of politics, as a traditional ruler, you should know your terrain. You should know your boundary. You should know when to make comment. You should know when there's difference between eloquency and being garrulous. You talk, everything you want to make comment. Yes, if you are a head, you are chairing an occasion. You are not the one that will be making. You just don't be talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. As a traditional ruler, you will try to maintain taciturn. You keep quiet for issue. You see what you see. What you see, it's not everything you see. What an old man sees sitting down, a child climbs to throw the bill, you will not see it. If a child climbs to throw the bill, you will not see it. You will sit down and just watch. Whatever you see that is going wrong, call any of them. So you can even correct by proxy. You can make a correction as a leader by proxy, as a traditional leader by proxy. Send somebody to the person and so this. Then it will be corrected. So this is my humble advice to whoever is holding a traditional ruler and want to get himself, want to be a politician. Then remove your cap, your crown, and become a politician. Join the politics. So if you can't be a traditional ruler and a politician at the same time.
Okay.
So this is my humble take on the issue. Okay. Thank you, AI.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Theodore, for coming on board and creating this distinguished disparity or differences between roles between politicians and also the traditional rulers who happen to be serving monarchs over a people, distinguishing their features. Thank you for coming on board the show. We hope to be having you from time to time.
Oh, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure. It's my pleasure. To be part of this. Yes, I'm really excited. Thank you, AI.
All right. Well, that was Professor Theodore, who wishes to be humbly referred to as Mr. Theodore. It's been a show on the Game of Thrones activities, let me put it that way, in the Kano Emirate between the Sanusis and the Bayeros. And we've heard it from Professor Theodore over who should actually exercise roles and how they should exercise those roles. If you're a politician, you pay attention to politics. If you're a traditional ruler, based on the monarchical system, you should pay attention to the monarchical system. Now, Kano on its own part is the only emirate in the country with one unifying king. The creation of unnecessary kings, frankly speaking, I must say, isn't palatable because the people down the line will also be at the receiving end, turned into punching bags from the administration and also the traditional institutions. Too many captains, therefore, cannot be aboard ship and should not be condoned. I'm Odiawa AI, and the show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. Thanks for watching.